Hi, welcome. My name is Dale McCluskey, and on this video, I just want to take a few minutes to talk about the idea that somehow you can teach your dog to basically get along while getting out from underneath, having to bring them under authority or leadership. And so really the question is, does learning theory work? And more specifically, does physical response always represent a like-minded state? So I'm going to put a couple questions here on the board. I'm going to take you through a couple, help you navigate some of this, just to allow you to see dogs a little more clearly as the relational beings that they really are. So the question here is, and again, this is about learning theory. So typically, through learning theory, what people will use to promote this idea is using motivating agents such as treats to do it. So let's put this down here. Treats are the agent. And then the real question is, okay, as the dog is going through this learning-based script, so as they're doing the calm, down, stay, within the controlled environment of using treats to help to motivate them into going into these responses, does that represent meaningful change? Does that represent that what you see is what you get, so to speak, when it comes to response? So here again, this following this, how this script is promoted, does response equal like-minded state? So again, we're talking about response. We're talking about the kind of the typical, cookie cutter way that obedience is presented through using treats. Okay, the typical obedience class where they're using treats to do it. Now, this is a thing to understand, and when you're looking at the whole issue of response, is to really understand that. Dogs are relational, social beings. They really are, and that's how their decision-making process is influenced. Okay, so so what I show is that really training is really an intervention. So, but here, following this this issue of response in a like-minded state, is that what you really have to, and this is what we're going to really kind of want to walk away from here, is what I'm going to write next on the board to really understand why it doesn't line up, is the issue of devaluation. Okay, that's a critical theme to keep in mind when you're engaging in using learning theory as at the appearance, at the physical level, as a way to get out from underneath, bringing a dog under authority. And this is where, again, people get really sidetracked and they're looking just at the physical response part of it. If you're looking just at the physical level with dogs, why people get really emotional, they look at how people are using certain devices. But really, what's happening is they're missing the whole point. Okay, at the relational level of I define as packaging. How dogs going to package it up because it's about mind and body. But really, what is really getting in the way of change oftentimes is the issue of devaluation, where a dog will objectify the owner. So they're going into the positions based on what they want, okay? And that's being connected to the owner, using treats and scripting it that way, but they're still devaluing the owner, okay? So really what's happening is the type of influence taking place between the dog and owner is not meaningful influence, okay? Just like if you look in the human world based off the narcissistic type of model framework, what you see is the actions don't line up, okay, with the motives that underpin the action. So it's the same here. when you're looking at response, okay, when you're looking at response, you have to be able to qualify what underpins it, okay, the motives. And then we have to then take that into response, and then we have to take it and we have to attach it to the dog's overall decision-making process, okay? The decision-making process of the dog. And this is the problem here, is that the majority of people that use learning theory this way, I should say all the people, really, because that's what's going on, are not connecting that dot that way. They're not looking at the dog's overall decision-making process within the framework of unwanted behavior. Okay, so what I show is that unwanted behavior represents, it's a spillover effect of the owner not coming into right relationship relationally. Okay, they're not fulfilling the leadership role. Dogs are relational beings. They're able to get a very clear picture of where we're standing relationally through the pack relationship, and what they do is they start to devalue. Okay, if the person isn't coming into right relationship, if they're not connecting that way, then that's what's happening. But here, what's happening is through this issue of devaluation, a lot of people follow the scripting this way and using learning theory this way. They're not looking at the dog's decision-making process, how it's governed that way. So what they'll do is, when the behavior issues don't go away, and it's because of devaluation, okay, that's the reason that the behavior issues aren't going away, they'll take it and they'll shift the blame onto the dog as having a genetic problem, or give it more time, or they start doing the whole blame game thing, okay? Because what they're doing is they totally reject the idea, or the fact, that the dogs are social relational beings, and this is how the decision-making process is governed. But the real issue here, again, we'll go a little deeper here, and you look at the motives, you look at the psychology of the people who are promoting this. Their psychology is very weak oftentimes. There's a mirroring process that's happening, and it follows more of a kind of a permissive way of thinking. And so within that permissive type of thinking, if you look at how that scripts even in the human world, the real issue never gets fixed. Okay, the focus shifts on to the other person instead of the real issue. But here's the same thing. The motives, again, aren't lining up, but also you have to look at the motives of the people who are doing this, the real motives, even though they're promoting it as a way to get out from underneath bringing a dog under authority. What I show is there's really a relation. There's no way to escape bringing a dog under authority, because that's just how dogs are. So by trying to follow this type of way of doing things and learning, what you're doing is a lot of times you're being set up to be deceived, okay? And through this issue of devaluation, because a dog can go through the motions. So very clearly, a dog can go through the motions. The script can look like it's all coming together, but it's a counterfeit image of nature, okay? But the real test is, this is where you have to look at the behavior issues themselves to see whether or not they're actually going back, or whether or not they're diminishing or not. That's the real test. That's the real standard. So just keep that in mind. So a couple takeaway things from this video is the issue of devaluation, okay, and that at the response level, it does not always represent a like-minded state. It just doesn't, okay? You have to be able to step back. You have to qualify it. And then you have to look at the decision-making process of the dog and connect the dot that way to the behavior, okay? So there's a little bit of navigating here, but this is where what I show here very clearly, I'll take this stuff off here briefly, and then I'll show you what training represents. Training is an intervention. Okay, training is an intervention, okay, and the focus, therefore, comes on to the dog owner. Okay, not the dog that way. Okay, so the focus comes on to the owner, and so keeping that in mind, when you look at even serious issues such as aggression, they can be brought back from the edge by bringing the focus onto the owner coming into the right relationship. Okay, because again, when you have behavior issues, it represents there's already a misalignment in progress of the roles, and the focus needs to come on to the owner as the agent of change. Okay, and you want to stay away from, again, if the owner's already needs to change how they think. That's why we want to stay away from using things such as treats and such, because it's about packaging. Okay, it's about changing how the person thinks, and those things are not helpful, and they can set the person up to be deceived. So even the issue of, you get into this thing about balanced or hybrid training, be very careful of that because, again, you need to take training and approach it at the point of an intervention. As you start to introduce certain ideas and certain ways of doing things, you can set yourself up again for the issue of devaluation to start to take hold at a certain level, and you may not get to where you need to go. So anyway, just something to think about. Hopefully this provides a little bit of clarity, a little bit of context. If you need help with your dog, you can contact me anytime. I'm here to help people. That's my goal, is here to help people. It's all about encouraging people. It's all about helping people get to where they need to go. So even if you're dealing with a very serious behavior issue, even if you failed in the past using these other methods, what this system of training is all about is offering hope to everybody and every dog. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day.